the equipment is worth at least 5 million rand. Igama Apiwe Nxusani-Mawela, originally from the Eastern Cape. I'm the founder of Tholokazi Beer and Cider. So today you're here to see the beautiful brand, Tholokazi. So Tholokazi is my clan name. And the reason why I chose the brand name, the clan name as our brand name, is because the brand for me is about celebrating women in Africa, as obviously as the first day one brewers, and if you look at brewing globally, it was always done by women. So I'm actually a microbiologist by profession. Tholokazi is a proud South African brand of beers and ciders established in 2020, and this is my success story.
So good day everyone, I hope you're all doing well, and welcome back to another episode of the Untold, where we tell you the stories of people who are doing positive changes in the society. So today I'm here to celebrate my sister Apiwe right now. She has an amazing establishment that she has right now, so I don't want to explain more or go into detail. She's the one who's going to tell us what's happening at the establishment. So how are you, my sister?
I'm good, thanks. How are you putting?
I'm doing fine.
Yes.
So can you tell the viewers who's Apiwe, and can you tell us about your brand as well?
Okay, so Igama Apiwe Nxusani-Mawela, originally from the Eastern Cape, currently based here in Johannesburg, based in Doreport. So today you're here to see the beautiful brand, Tholokazi. So Tholokazi is my clan name.
Is a key name?
Clan name.
Clan name, is it?
Yes, yes. So Tholokazi and the reason why I chose the brand name, the clan name as our brand name, is because the brand for me is about celebrating women in Africa, as obviously as the first day one brewers, and if you look at brewing globally, it was always done by women. So through the brand name, I wanted to just tell that story and celebrate that story and showcase that as Africans we exist, we are here, and we're doing all these wonderful things. And also the brand, we use African ingredients.
Yes, sir.
So we use, like this one is a rooibos and berry cider, so the rooibos tea. And then this is marula cider.
Okay.
And then we use like sorghum. We use South African hops and South African grain.
So these are ciders, I guess.
Those are ciders. Those are beers. Yes.
Wow. Fantastic. So tell me, how did you start, or what came into your mind when you said, let me start to run or to own an establishment that makes beer? Is it something that you've had in your mind, or it just came out because you're an entrepreneur?
Yeah, so I'm actually a microbiologist by profession. I studied at Wits, and then I did my postgrad in West of Pretoria. Then I worked for SAP for about 9 years. So I left in 2015. So I've been an entrepreneur since 2015. And into alcohol, it was just, for me, it was the love of science. It was the love of that biology, and I could have been a cheesemaker, I could have been a baker, I could have been because it was about the study of the microorganisms and how we can use the microorganisms to make products that are for human consumption and for betterment of mankind. And it's been a great journey so far.
Is it? So do you mean to say when you were working for a certain institution, you were also in this business?
Yes. So that's where I trained to become a brewer.
Wow. So that means
I trained to become a
for
brewer
9 years you have learned the skills. Then you said, let me start something of your own.
Yes. So deciding to leave was as I was in the company, I got to meet people that have started their own businesses. Then I got to learn about that craft brewing and globally, so in US, in America, it's a big thing. And as I was making these beers, people kept on saying, the beers are so good, and the idea to say, okay, maybe it was time to actually go start my own business.
So tell me, how was the experience when you started? How was it when you started? Because remember, there are two aspects. There's an aspect of starting a business, like you need equipment and whatnot, and also another aspect of marketing your brand. So how did you manage to come across the challenges during your journey?
So the challenges have been there all along. I think for me, obviously the first one when I left When I initially left, I started a company called Brewster's Craft.
Okay.
And that was in 2015, and the main aim for that business was as a consulting company, helping other entrepreneurs start up their own businesses, and also do training. And then along the way, as I was helping these different entrepreneurs, then the question to say, how do they then make their own? So the idea to then set up my own facility started from there. We got, after going around knocking on different doors, presenting the business plan, we managed to get some funding, a funding loan, and then we set up the brewery. But I think, the challenge is obviously around finances. I think any entrepreneur in South Africa today, trying to get that start, especially in our industry where the equipment is worth at least 5 million rand to start. So it's not something that you can just wake up and do. Yes.
Wow. So you had the courage to start, and you started.
Yes,
so that's the reason why we came to celebrate you, because if you want to look right now, with your qualification, of course, you can get something. But the thing is, you decided to learn some skills and start something. And what you have started, I can tell you, believe you me, if your brand goes far, you will be able to employ more people. So that's the reason why we are here to celebrate you. So in this instance, also this month is Women's Month. So happy Women's Month.
Thank you. Thank you. But thanks for wishing us International Women's Day. So for us, we are, we're very pro women. So as you see around, we mainly employ women.
Yes.
And for me, it's that thing to say, as a female in the industry who has managed to break the barriers and be in it, what can I do to actually pull other women with me? And so I made a conscious decision that out of at least 80% of the staff force has to be women. Yes, to then empower the next generation.
I get you. So I've seen also you do not only run this facility only of making ciders and what, you also transfer skills into young people, because I've seen you gave me a tour, then we saw also there's a small plant that is there, there's also a lab, the way you do your test. So can you tell the viewers about this academy that you run, and also the skills that you transfer into young people? How did you start? How is it going? And where do you see yourself, the academy going?
So when I left formal employment, the first thing I did was set up the training and I think for me that's kind of like my core passion and my core skills. And then when we built the brewery back in 2019, the business plan was that the brewery will be a facility where we produce our own product, the Tholokazi range, but will also be an incubation hub for other entrepreneurs to come in and we're able to produce for them. But we'll also then take in learners on learnerships from universities and be able to transfer the skill. So unfortunately, with the pandemic, we ended up having to close down that facility. But then I decided to continue with Tholokazi as a brand. Yes, we are currently contract manufacturing it. And then 2022, I revisited the academy. So currently the space we're at now, we've got the Tholokazi tap room, and then at the back we've got the Brewster's Academy, which is a QCTO accredited facility to offer training to young graduates so that they can then become brewers.
So that's fantastic. Because if you want to look, brewery business is largely dominated by big companies. So tell me the experience of establishing your brand or pushing your brand. How does it go?
So it's not easy because, like you say, the industry is very much dominated by international brands, and these are companies with millions and millions of budgets for marketing, for distribution, and also they spend money over the years marketing their brands. So they are well-known brands in the market. There's people that ever since they started drinking, they've been drinking that specific brand. So it becomes very difficult to then enter the industry, because now you have to not only convince the consumers, but also have to convince the outlet owners to try your product.
Yes.
The other challenge is around the price point, because now we're producing smaller quantities. Everything is
smaller, becomes expensive.
It's more
also.
expensive,
Yes.
Which then makes the final product to consumer a bit more expensive than what they're used to, and then that becomes another big barrier where people are like, firstly, we don't know this brand. We've never tasted it, now you're coming, you're expensive, and trying to educate consumers that, you know, a small business means things are going to be more expensive to make, because your input costs are much higher. You are paying rentals, you are paying, you know, there's so much, versus someone big companies that own the buildings, they own the trucks, they own all that stuff, and you are still having to build all those costs and the final product costs.
Wow. Oh, so I think I just want you to tell me what you like most about your business, or maybe making a brewery.
I think what I like most for me is being able to experiment with the different flavors. I think for us, especially for Tholokazi, having to look at like ingredients or that people know that have been part of us as Africans for centuries, and saying how do we now bring that into the modern world, and also showcase to the world that, you know, we're not just here in Africa doing nothing and expecting the world to give us things, but that we can also actually get to do our own and make our own, use what we have to create a better future for all.
That's good. Big question again about pushing your brand. Do you also attend maybe some what do you call them, exhibitions and whatnot? You attend those ones?
Yeah, so we do. So we are a member of Proudly SA. So we have the Summit Expo coming up next week. We also do events. We also do markets. So currently, you can find our product at Fourways Farmers Market in here in Modderfontein, Capital Craft in Pretoria, which is one of the big beer establishments in the country. And then we do beer festivals, we do markets, we do events, private events. And the reason why we decided to sort of try that market access model is because that's where you reach more people. So you amplify and fast track your brand awareness, so that by the time the product is in a shelf in a bottle store, people actually have seen
know the brand from somewhere. I get you. I get you. But since you have started, I remember you were also disturbed by COVID, but then you carried on also with Tholokazi. So tell me the growth. How is the growth? How is the business right now?
No, it's growing, but obviously it's not where we would want to be. But I think we are happy with where we are now, and we're just going to continue, growing at our pace. And I think for me, it's also the understanding that the established brands that are established today started where we are.
It's true.
And it took them 100 years to be where they are. So. Understand that it's not.
Eventually, one day,
it will happen. We just need to keep on growing at our own pace.
I think one thing also that I've loved about Tholokazi is not only you are making your own brewery, but you are also transferring skills. Because right now, if you look into the youth of today, what we really need is to transfer skills from one to another. So if someone has skills, they are able to start something of their own. So in this instance, I think I do celebrate you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. So this is Kensani. So she's currently our trainee brewer. So she's the one who's going to show you around the brewery.
To quickly take you through a crash course, 30 seconds of the process that is involved in making a good quality beer. So to begin with, we start with milling our grains. So the barley that we're going to have in our beer, the wheat or the sorghum, we need to crush it into a finer particles so that it is easier to mash and release the sugars that will be fermented later on. So we start with our milling process in our mill here. And then once that's done, we come to our hot water tank. This is where we boil our hot water in preparation for our brewing process. All right, so we usually boil it to up to 70 degrees. That's an optimum temperature for our mashing. which takes place in this next tank, which is the mash tank. Mashing is where we add the hot water as well as our milled grain, and we let it mash or steep for about 1 hour. That's where the fermentable sugars are being released from the grain into the water, right? So after that 1 hour, we're going to separate that grain, which is what we call spent grain, and separate it from the liquid. That liquid is what's going to become our liquid gold at the end of the process. That liquid then gets transferred from here into our hot wort boiler, which is where we're going to boil the wort for about 60 minutes, again an hour, and during that 60 minutes this is where we add our hops, which is going to give us our bittering. If you want to add any other fruits or flavors or spices, we add it during the boiling process. Once that's done, we cool it down with a heat exchanger to allow it to go down to about 15 degrees from 100 degrees. So you can imagine that takes quite a bit of a process, but also you need cold water, glycol, just to allow it for that cooling to happen quicker. Then from there, we take the wort that's cooled down and we transfer it into our fermentation tanks or fermentation vessels. So this is where we're going to add our yeast and allow it to ferment with the sugars that we extracted during mash, as well as fermentation to take place. This takes about 10 to 12 days depending on what you're making. The fermentation will happen as well as the maturation, and then from here we can put it in bottles, cans, or into our kegs, and it will be ready for consumption.
Apiwe, I want to thank you for the time that you've given me to share your amazing story. Like I've said before when I came earlier, is we are celebrating people who are doing amazing work in the society. So this establishment that we have started, wish you nothing but the best. So I hope when I come back, probably in the next 5 years, we'll be talking a different story like what I've said.
Yeah, no,
okay.
Thank you so much for coming.
Yes.
And thanks to the viewers for actually watching. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So I just want a quick one. If you are given the power to change 2 things in South Africa, what would you change in the youth of South Africa?
I think the one for the youth is for them to not wait for things to be given to them, to actually not be as entitled as they are, and realize that to be able to achieve whatever they want, they need to wake up and do it, and that anything and everything is actually achievable. You just need to have the right mindset.